Hello, peace be upon you. I'm reading a biography about a Buddhist nun. Her name is chee kaew. Sorry if I've mispronounced it. It's about her journey to spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Preface. While I was living at Nakamnoi Forest Monastery in 2007, the abbot Ajahn Intawai Santosaku asked me to translate a biographical sketch of chee kaew from Thai into English, which he intended to publish in both languages. Although the sketch he gave me was rather brief, Ajahn Intawai graciously made available all previous writings about chee kaew's life that he had collected. After translating the shortened version of her life into English, I decided to write a complete account based on more extensive research into the events that shaped her life and marked each step on her path to enlightenment. Nakamnoi Forest Monastery provided me with a calm and supportive environment in which to work, and the monks there provided valuable research assistance. chee kaew's collected teachings, excerpts of which are quoted at the beginning of each chapter, presented a special challenge as most of them were recorded in her native Phu Thai dialect. I am indebted to those ethnic Phu Thai monks who helped me to decipher their meaning. This book would not have been completed without the dedicated effort of many friends and helpers. My gratitude to them is immense. In particular, I would like to thank my longtime copy editor, Sway Tant, for deftly smoothing over the rough edges of the first draft and helping to set the general tone of the narrative. Rachel Claveau then did a masterful job of trimming down superfluous language and improving the grammatical structure. Rachel also urged me to clarify many unclear or difficult passages to establish precisely the intended meaning. Special thanks go to Chi Melita Halim, who single-handedly created the book's front and back cover designs, the interior design, and all of the pencil drawings. She worked tirelessly for many months in difficult circumstances to prepare the manuscript for publication. I feel blessed to have a generous and enthusiastic publisher, Silpa Siam Packaging and Printing Co. Limited, who not only facilitated the publication but also helped to solicit contributions to fund the cost of printing. Without the generosity of many dedicated donors, it would not have been possible to print this book and make it available for free distribution. Their names are too numerous to mention, but each one of them deserves our heartfelt appreciation. And finally, hearty thank you to Forest Dhamma Books, a worldwide network of friends, for the time and effort they volunteered in support of this project. When I went to the monastery as a young girl, I had to be accompanied by my parents, and I wasn't allowed to mingle with the monks. While listening to the monks discuss Dhamma, I sat way in the back, just within earshot. The Venerable Meditation Master taught us how to pay homage to the Buddha and how to praise his virtues with chanting. He encouraged us to radiate loving kindness to all living beings and to always be open-hearted and generous. He told us that no matter how generous we were as lay supporters, the virtue of that generosity could not compare with the virtue of ordaining as a white-robed nun and earnestly practicing the way to end all suffering. That message always remained close to my heart. chee, kaew. Introduction. This book presents the life and practice of a woman who reached the pinnacle of Buddhist practice in her lifetime. She was known as chee kaew. chee kaew felt the calling to a spiritual life at an early age. Blessed as a girl with the good fortune to meet some of the most renowned meditation masters, blessed as a girl with the good Blessed as a girl with the good fortune to meet some of the most renowned meditation masters of her era, she took their teachings on meditation to heart and with youthful enthusiasm earnestly put them into practice. Due to a favorable disposition, she soon developed into a child prodigy, skilled in the art of samadhi meditation. Her mind easily became absorbed in deep concentration for many hours, and was witness to many strange and wonderful occurrences. When familial circumstances intervened to prevent her from undertaking a religious vocation, she bided her time patiently, waiting to take advantage of the earliest opportunity. After 20 years of unsatisfactory marriage, a door finally opened for chee kaew, and she stepped through, entering a life of renunciation. As a nun, she spent many years living and practicing with teachers of great renown. They often praised her for her extraordinary skills in meditation, especially her adeptness with psychic phenomena. Very few of them could equal her prowess in that field of perception. More significantly, however, she succeeded in overcoming her attachment to the conventional world with its ever-changing conditions, and thus attained the unconditioned state of total freedom. Being one of the few known female arahants of the modern era, she became living testimony that the Buddha's goal of supreme enlightenment is possible for everyone, regardless of gender, race, or class. Countless female practitioners lived during the time of the Buddha. Most attained the fruits of the Noble Path, and many were praised by the Buddha. Over and over again in the Buddha's early discourses, his female disciples were commended. They were lauded for their diligence, their wisdom, and their teaching skills. There is no doubt that many women of that time left their families behind and devoted themselves to living the homeless life of a renunciant. In fact, when the Buddha started an order of nuns, many women rushed to join it. Due to the social constraints those women faced, that was an extraordinary achievement. A man's willingness to turn his back on parents, spouse, and children was viewed as evidence of his determination to seek the truth. It was considered virtuous for men to leave home and family behind for the sake of a spiritual vocation. Women, however, tread an altogether more difficult path to a life of renunciation. Enjoying far less freedom than men, they could not leave their families without first begging permission from reluctant spouses, and they were often constrained by duty to aging parents or young children. By starting an order of nuns, the Buddha was opening to women a unique opportunity to lead the homeless life in a way that transcended customary social and cultural constraints. He was also acknowledging that women are as capable of understanding the Dhamma as men, which was quite a radical notion at the time. The Bhikkhuni Sangha was the community of nuns founded by the Buddha. It remained a thriving monastic order for over a millennium, but eventually the Bhikkhuni lineage died out due to war and famine. Because no mechanism for its revival was provided by the Buddha, the only ordination opportunity left open to women in Theravadan countries today is ordination as a nun, observing either 8 or 10 precepts. In Thailand, 8 precept nuns are the norm. They are known as chees. Like the monks, a chee shaves her head and undertakes training rules not generally observed by Buddhist lay people. Wearing distinctive white robes that reflect the strict division between the lifestyle of an ordained person and that of a lay person, a Meiji observes a standard code of discipline governing suitable attire, conduct, and livelihood. She is not allowed to hire herself out, accept payment for jobs, or engage in the buying and selling of goods and services. She is instructed to keep in mind that a dignified appearance and exemplary behavior can encourage in others a genuine interest in the virtues of Buddhist practice. Most Maichis reside in monasteries administered by monks. Smaller numbers live in their own nunneries, which are often associated with a local monastery. The practice-oriented monasteries, especially those in the Thai forest tradition, give women the free time and the basic requisites they need to pursue a lifestyle of renunciation and meditation. For this reason, many women prefer the opportunities for practice offered in Meiji communities affiliated with such monasteries. One perceived drawback to that arrangement is that the nuns are relegated to a status clearly secondary to that of the monks. This limitation is alleviated to some extent by the Buddhist understanding that authority and rank in a community are essentially social conventions needed to keep the community functioning smoothly. A woman's position in the hierarchy does not in any way reflect her essential worth as a person. The separation of men and women has become so deeply ingrained in most cultures that it is quite natural to experience it in a religious context. But gender is transient. It comes and goes, conditioned by past karma. It is a kind of destiny. The essence of one's being is without name and without form. and thus without characteristics of male or female. This is a fundamental tenet of Buddhism, that the attributes of self-identity are devoid of intrinsic essence. Everything that makes a person unique changes continually and eventually disintegrates. Each personality is constantly ceasing to be what it was and becoming something new. Those factors one tends to conceive of as self are impermanent and fleeting. Everything about bodily form and the mind's thoughts and feelings is without intrinsic worth and bound to dissolve. For that reason, clinging to body and mind is a major source of pain and suffering. Realization that the essence of mind, stripped of all external characteristics, has no inherent gender, rank, or status, liberates us from the concepts of separate or common identities that hinder our progress and limit our freedom. All such conventional distinctions must be transcended if we are to sever the bonds that bind us so tightly to the cycle of death and birth. In this respect, all human beings stand on an equal footing, because the fundamental delusions of mind that must be overcome are essentially the same for everyone. Nothing is more amazing than the mind. It is extraordinary what a well-trained mind can do. By nature, chee kaw's mind tended to be bold and dynamic. Prophetic dreams and psychic visions occurred effortlessly in her meditation. Her psychic tendencies were both a liability and a source of strength. For years their attraction blinded her to the need for self-restraint. Later, when she learned how to discipline her mind, she was able to use her unusual abilities in profound and wondrous ways. But inherent tendencies of mind vary significantly from one person to another. Some, like chee kaew, are quite active and venturesome. Others are more reserved and cautious. Each has its advantages in meditation. chee kaw's dynamic mind allowed her to progress quickly along a path of practice that most people find to be slow and difficult. But it is rare to find someone whose mind combines the degrees of skill and power that chee kaw's did. Because of that, it would be nearly impossible for the average person to match her extraordinary range of psychic perception. Those aspects of her practice will not serve as a suitable meditation guide for most practitioners. On a more profound level, however, chee kaw's practice points the way beyond the changing conditions of birth and death to the essence of true freedom. At the heart of that realization lies a fundamental distinction between two very different aspects of the mind: the mind's knowing essence and the transient states of mind that arise and cease within it. By not understanding that distinction, we take those transient states to be real, to be the mind itself. In fact, they are all just changing conditions that never remain stable from one moment to the next. The knowing essence of mind is the only real constant. Mostly we lump everything together and call it mind, but actually states of mind exist in conjunction with the knowing of them. With that insight comes the realization that happiness and suffering are realities separate from the mind that knows them. The true essence of mind knows all states and all conditions, but attaches to none. Because of that, it lies beyond the shifting states of happiness and suffering. If we can see this, we can put down those conventional realities and let them go. With that understanding, liberating detachment occurs of its own accord. Chee Kaew was a countrywoman who lived a simple village life in the northeastern region of Thailand and overcame enormous difficulties in her attempt to leave home and follow the Buddha's noble path to freedom from suffering. Her persistence, her courage, and her intuitive wisdom enabled her to transcend all conventional boundaries, both those imposed upon her by the world she lived in and those limiting her mind from within, and thereby find release from the bondage of birth and death. Although she lived and practiced under the same constraints that most women practitioners have had to endure, she embraced that challenge, skillfully harmonizing her practice to fit smoothly within the conventional monastic framework. By surrendering wholeheartedly to that time-honored system, she succeeded in turning its apparent drawbacks to her advantage. Instead of complaining of unequal status, Chee Kaew diligently cultivated a mind of clear and spontaneous awareness, and thereby succeeded in cutting through her deeply rooted delusion of personal and cultural identity. Viewed in the light of transcendent insight, the solid world of class and difference in which she had spent her entire life evaporated and disappeared. Monks who are skilled in meditation are not biased by cultural conditioning. They have no doubt that women who observe the 8 precepts and practice seriously can attain exceptionally high levels of meditation. In truth, women have a remarkable capacity for understanding Dhamma and can achieve deep levels of samadhi and develop extraordinary knowledge and wisdom. Many nuns and laywomen in Thailand surpass the monks in their accomplishments. For this reason, meditation masters generally hold female practitioners in high esteem, considering them equal to men in their spiritual potential. In the Thai forest tradition today, many revered teachers believe that women are capable of the highest spiritual attainment. They often recommend female monastics as exemplary teachers. Many forest meditation masters have women students, both nuns and laywomen, who are recognized as teachers in their own right. These women actively participate in their religious communities as skilled meditators, healers, or mentors, and are revered by local people. Chee Kaew was just such a woman. Practicing nuns like her have left a legacy to inspire future generations and to show how the Buddhist path of practice may be reopened by anyone, male or female. This account of Chee Kaew's life is presented in the form of a narrative biography, using the available facts placed in a historical context to tell the story of her life. I have included what information I could find to place her life in a proper setting of time and culture, citing her own words and her contemporaries' words and the known events of their time. The story I tell was compiled from various Thai language sources. I am deeply indebted to Ajahn Mahabua, who through his spoken and written teachings related many key stories about her meditation practice. I have used his lucid descriptions of the transcendent levels of insight and wisdom to work out the details of Mei Chi Kaew's step-by-step progression to enlightenment. She was one of Ajahn Mahabua's most gifted disciples, and he has left us no doubt about her spiritual attainments. Ajahn Intawai was an important inspiration for writing this book. Having enjoyed a close relationship with Mai Chi Kaew since childhood, he proved to be a valuable source of cultural background and historical detail. Mai Chi Kaew's surviving relatives provided intimate accounts of her family life, as well as the early years of her renunciation of worldly affairs. Dr. Pensri Makaranon, who nursed her tirelessly in old age, has shared a vivid recollection of Mai Chi Kaew's final years, including many of the fascinating stories Mai Chi Kaew herself related to her medical attendants. All of this material I have stitched together to weave the fabric of her life. However, many irreconcilable gaps and inconsistencies appeared in the different written and verbal accounts. I found multiple versions of the same story, and in some instances, crucial details are missing. So I have also resorted to my imagination to fill out the picture of her life and her practice, adding graphic details to fashion a vibrant and clear mental image of the woman and her extraordinary achievements. This is not a work of scholarship so much as a narrative biography that is intended to provide a source of inspiration to those who are devoted to Buddhist practice. With that purpose in mind, it is hoped that this book will be viewed mainly as an invitation to contemplate the depths and subtleties of mind that are experienced on the Buddha's path to total liberation. Part 1, Blessing. Having been born, we attach importance to the Having been born, we attach importance to the passing days, months, and years. We believe in the importance of our lives and the lives of others. For that reason, our minds are constantly concerned with pain and suffering. Moonstone Pearls. Beginning in the 9th century, the migration of the Thai people from southern China progressed as steadily and quietly as the flow of monsoon floodwaters that seep into dense forests and blanket fertile plains, changing color with the hue of the sky and form with the contour of the land. Woven together geographically, Thai ethnic groups of common origins and similar culture spread over mountains and down valleys from South China into ancient Siam. Among the many Thai subgroups were the Futai people, who were fiercely independent farmers and hunters originating from the Chinese prefecture of Jiaozi on the banks of the Red River. They were driven by a succession of political upheavals south, to forge their way south through the neighboring Lao kingdoms, gradually pushed further with each generation until they reached the banks of the Mekong River. They settled inland and remained there for centuries, migrating later to more fertile land on the river's opposite side and fanning out along its western territories. Over centuries of struggle and hardship, through droughts, floods, natural disasters, and communal tragedies, the resourceful Futai people were eventually united into a cohesive political entity ruled by a hereditary local lord and a powerful clan of warriors and administrators. The king of Mukdahan, named for the moonstone pearls or mukda, which the Futai discovered in local stream beds, became a regional center for their traditional way of life. Ban Huai Sai was a small Futai farming community in, in the Ham Chai district of Old Siam's Mukdahan province, situated at the far edge of the Mekong River flood plain, where the southern floodplain, where the southern range of the Phu Phan Mountains rise to form a rolling landscape. The village perched neatly on a smooth stretch of high ground between the Huai Bang Sai and Huai Bang Yi rivers. It was a settlement of rustic wooden houses, built on stilts and shaded by large overhanging trees, as though the living space had been carved out of a dense primeval forest. The villagers were the villagers were country people with rough, unrefined manners and simple, guileless lives, sustained by subsistence farming and the hunting of wild game. They cultivated rice, each family farming a plot of fertile land on the village outskirts that had been cleared of trees. Beyond the clearing lay a thick jungle terrain, teeming with tigers and elephants. This vast forest was believed to harbor hidden dangers and frightening places, compelling the inhabitants to band together in village settlements for safety and companionship. Situated over a large expanse of fertile territory along the Mekong, Mukdahan began as a separate kingdom and later evolved into a semi-autonomous principality, owing allegiance to Siam's Chakri dynasty. That's all for now, guys. Take care. Peace be upon you.